Hi, welcome to Schmegma's. Is this your first time with us?
Oh, I'm very familiar with smegma.
Can I get you something to drink?
Diet Coke?
Is Diet Pepsi okay?
Totally. Does anyone ever freak out at that question?
You have no idea.
Well, look, if it saves you any time, I already know what I want to order.
Perfect, what can I get you?
I'll take the 20-ounce comic book, please.
And how do you want that cooked?
Rare.
How rare exactly?
Slap its ass and bring it out mooing.
So we're a Serve Safe certified restaurant, which means we can go as rare as blue.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect, I'll have that right out. All right, here's your comic book.
I'm sorry, I'm never that guy, but I actually ordered rare.
And that's what you got, silly. That's Hulk 181, the
Second.
appearance of Wolverine.
Oh, I'm familiar with the second appearance of Wolverine, but this isn't rare.
Sir, I'm sorry to disagree, but that comic book is worth thousands of dollars.
Oh, it's very popular, and it's worth a lot of money, but that doesn't mean it's rare.
Expensive, rare, what's the difference?
Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, it's Ricky from All Sorts of Words, and I wanted to address some questions that I feel like the community's been having trouble with as of late. Questions like, why is this comic book rare? This comic book just as rare, but not as money expensive. Is the lump inside my anus a pimple or a hemorrhoid? So I'm going to attempt to answer some of those questions. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make a tool, right? I wanted to make something that the community can use in these streets. Something that will help them understand the difference between popularity and rarity and how those things intersect to create value. So I came up with RAC. That's the Rarity and Cost Kit. Let me show you. Welcome to the RAC. It's a Venn diagram. My circles aren't going to touch, but the ones that matter do, so get over it. I'm going to go over what this tool is and how you can use it to improve your comic book collecting, or like really anything, record collecting, DVDs. I don't really give a shit, but here it's comic books. So let's get into it. Over here is popularity. This is actually the easiest one to explain because it's how many people like a thing. And incidentally, it actually has the biggest impact on value. So an example would be the most recent hubbub over the new Ultimate Spider-Man #1. This is a brand new book. You can still go into stores and find this at cover price right now. But people have such a fear of missing out, and there are stores selling out, and it is so desirable that people are selling variant covers on eBay for like legit cash. In the simplest terms, this whole globe right here, more people that want a thing, the more the value shoots up just because there's not enough supply to equal the demand. That's really where economics 101 comes in, supply and demand. If more people want something than are available, then the seller who has the thing can now make more money off of you, the buyer. Over here, however,
But like, what's the point?
I'm sorry?
Like, what's the point in knowing all of this? If you have the money and you can afford it and you want it, just buy it, right?
I was just getting to that. We're getting to it, I promise. Just do me a favor. Focus on the rack and it'll all start to make sense. Where were we? Right. Over here, we have rarity. Simplest terms, how hard is it to find the thing you're looking for? Imagine for a second you have all the money in the world. Cost isn't an issue anymore. You can officially afford to buy anything you want. Where rarity is concerned, it doesn't matter if you can afford the thing. It matters whether or not you can actually get your damn hands on it. A good example of this would be this comic. This is Vampirella Dead Flowers #1, the metal variant. This cover is actually made of metal. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I love this book, but you had to pre-order it on Dynamite or you didn't get a copy. They only made 100. They only make 100 of these metal covers. Now ask yourself, are there more than 100 Vampirella fans on the planet that would love this sweet-ass cover in their life? I'm sure, but after 100 people get them, the 101st on have to settle on a giant bag of dicks. If there are 101 fans, one person and more have to sit out in the cold. It's just, there's not enough supply. Now you'd think, after what I just told you, that this would be an insanely expensive book. That's not the case. I spent, I think, $80 on this shipped. And now maybe I could ask for like 150, something like that. But it's not like I paid thousands of dollars for this, even though there's only 50 on the planet. Okay, so that's rarity in brief and popularity in brief, desirability. How do these things combine to create value? Now, on the rack system, this is where we want to be. We want to be safe and sound in this sweet little line right here. This is where a rare thing and a popular thing collide to create actual screaming value. Everybody wants it, but there's not enough of it. So the price skyrockets. If you've got something a lot of people want and it's in short supply, you're in the money, baby. Now let's look at some examples of when these two circles don't connect and what can happen to prices. Back on rarity. Hey, it's another Vampirella example. Shut up. I love Vampirella. This is a New York Comic Con exclusive #1 Vampirella issue done by Dirty Nathan Zerdy. And look, right here in the back. It's 111 of 400. There's literally only so many of them on the planet. There are only 400 copies of this. And like the other example, once you hit 401, bag of dicks. So if this is a #1 issue of a kind of popular indie character by an extremely popular artist on a beautiful cover, you would assume this book was $1,000, right? I paid $25. I paid $25 for that book. Part of Vampirella's current business strategy, like as an icon for Dynamite Comics, is limit the amount of printing that they do so that it increases demand. It's kind of like what Nintendo does all the time. It's manufactured scarcity. This idea that they can limit how much is in the world, creating an artificial kind of value. I mean, it's not artificial. It's what someone's willing to pay, but it's an active choice they made to make only so many. So it is exceedingly rare, but it doesn't have the pull, the popularity to make it shoot to the moon. Real talk though, y'all better pray Vampirella never makes it like into the mainstream, because if that does happen, all the nerds like me holding these 1 of 200s, 1 of 500 books, they're just going to be enormous. It will be hellish to try to get into Vampirella later on if Vampirella continues on the trajectory she's on. Now, here's a book that is specifically just popular. It's not rare. The numbers are unclear as to how many they printed, but we're looking at like around 100,000 something copies of Hulk 181. As of this moment, checking Go Collect, it says there's like 10,000 copies on the census across all the censuses. So if there's 10,000 graded copies of this book out there, and there's even more books raw, why are people losing their shirts over Hulk 181? It's not even the first appearance of Wolverine, for Christ's sake. It's because Wolverine is a huge character. And he is what people think of when they think of the X-Men now, even though he wasn't a founding member. Heck, look at this guy. He's another YouTuber with a statue in the background that like is paying homage to Hulk 181. I was just mentioning the statue. Please don't bully me, Sticky Goose. So you have a book that has a well-known cover with a huge first combat between Hulk and Wolverine. It's the first cover appearance of Wolverine, which that's not nothing. And all of that combines to inflate the value. It's a popular book, but it isn't rare. Now, this is going to be controversial, but you can be friends with a comic book seller. You can have good relationships with comic book sellers. But at the end of the day, You and the sellers are in an adversarial relationship. They want to sell a book for way more than they paid. They want to make money off of the procurement of that book. You're a collector. You just want the book for yourself. And there's nothing wrong in that either. And there's nothing wrong in wanting to pay the lowest price possible. And in this continually changing, swirling marketplace of comics, where one day a book is $10,000 and the next day it's $200,000, you should have at least a baseline understanding between the difference of rare and popular, uncommon and desirable. Imagine you're at a con and you see for the first time in your life, not on the internet, a copy of Hulk 181. And you know for a fact you've seen it for cheaper on eBay, but he's got it in front of you. He's going to hand it to you. No taxes required. But you're on the fence. You don't know if you want to do it. Seriously, if you know it's like a Hulk 181, walk around the floor. See what other people have. See what their prices are. Tell yourself when you're having that internal negotiation that you have the opportunity to see this book again. It's not a ghost. Conversely, though, if you're shopping and you see that one-in-a-lifetime book that is super de-duper rare and you've never even seen it outside of the internet, maybe you need to reprioritize where you're putting your money at this con and get the book that you know you're not going to find again. It's important that you arm yourself with this knowledge so you can get the most out of the hobby. Using something like the rack will save you time, will save you money, and it all starts by understanding the difference between rare and value. Wait, where's the waiter? Dude, the restaurant's been closed for a while now. Really? Yeah, you've been talking to yourself for hours, man. Oh my God, seriously? Why didn't anyone tell me to leave? Because this isn't a real restaurant. You're in your kitchen filming a YouTube video. None of this is real. Am I crazy?